Welcome everyone. Good morning and Merry Christmas. Today is the 25th of December. It is right now 11:25 a.m. Wouldn't it have been funny if it said 12:25? Anyway, um, coming to you from Cayman Islands. Today's Monday. Well, as we all know, Monday Christmas Day, but we also have a holiday tomorrow because down here is actually British, so we have actually Boxing Day. But most of the places are open tomorrow. Today, most of the places, I mean, everything is closed. Even most of the restaurants. So even gas stations, convenience stores, and all that down here are going to be closed today. Um, Visitors, tourists tourists and all that are here. If you're in a condo, you got to cook yourself, or you go to a to one of the restaurants that are at the hotels. Now they are open. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about here is, yes, this is concerning SC30. Um, I have this board here. Sorry, this is in my way here, but I have this board here. This is the original board from Eric, from Eric's Edge channel, that he sent me for me to take this board and transfer his stuff over to a reloaded board. When I looked at this board, I was like, I'm not going to try to do that because this board is in very good shape. So I took another board that I had that I bought as a donor board, as a scrap board, and I transferred that to a new board and got it working. So Eric has an actually reloaded board, but it's not from the one he sent me. Okay, I do that often because then I can return the boards quicker to people. Okay, so if they send me a board, I send them a new one. Now, if they want their original, okay, which then I can do, then it's going to be a longer process because I have to move everything over. But um, so that means then that like when I go up to Florida, I can take 3 or 4 extra boards with me that I've done, and then um, boards that people have sent me for me to fix there. Well, for me to fix, I already have a couple spares, extras. I can just send those out, and then their board will get reloaded and go to someone else. So, anyway, so what? Uh, uh, enough of that story. When I looked at this board, I found it to be very clean, very good. I mean, if we go here to the desk cam, we can take a look a little bit. Maybe if I turn off this light, you can see better. But it's very clean, very good. And now it may look a little bit different because I replaced some caps and all that. So um, I replaced these here. So there is flux on the board. These were okay. These were soldered on okay. So I left them. There's actually 3 of them of the polymer caps. Well, 4. This one too. Um, so when I got this board, I was getting jail bar. Well, I wasn't even getting. Yeah, I was. No, not not the actually vertical bars. I was getting horizontal. I wasn't getting a chime or nothing. So I started looking and looking and looking. Um, First thing I do is just do a physical inspection over it, and really couldn't see much. Then I took out the matrix that was created for the data lines and the address lines that show you where everything goes and that. And I took that out and I started measuring my things and so forth. And I'm gonna go to the scopes because there you can see it better. So what I did, let me make sure I have good focus here. Okay, for me it's good. Let me fix up yours. Yours is perfect too. Okay. So I was checking, and then I came across something that wasn't right. And I come to find that there was a broken trace right here. Okay, and this one here goes to one of these F258 chips that are right here, and I wasn't getting from the ROM socket that was supposed to go to one of these. I wasn't getting it, so then I traced it, but I was getting it from the ROM socket onto the other chips, but just not to this one. So I went and traced it back, and I turned out to find that here there was a via that was bad. Now, if I zoom in more into this, it truly is a via up on top here that was bad because you can see the whole ring is missing. So I put in a good piece of strong copper wire. Went to the other side. Now this goes to an internal layer, so I had to make sure that I soldered it well in there. But once I did this, that one via came back. Well, that one trace came back. So I test the board. I still have the same problem. Um, so I completed the entire grid testing of the of the data lines and the address lines, and I couldn't find the problem. So then I started checking certain pins. I'm sorry about that. I started checking where certain things went from one chip to another. Okay, and then here's the glue chip. Okay, then I came across this pin here that wasn't going anywhere, and unfortunately the trace was broken right here. Now apparently, not good soldering. I may fix that up. That was done by the previous person. I did not replace these. Um, the the owner before the current owner, when he went to replace these caps, he accidentally slipped and he hit this. And I guess not much of it was done or said, but I found it and I put the trace there. I fixed that trace and I got continuity then to this pin. Um, I'm not sure where that was coming from, but I don't remember. I think that was coming from the from again to one of the um. I can't remember exactly where that one was coming from. I guess I could look at the schematic and actually see, but I could look at the schematic and see. I think that was pin 6. Anyway, let me see if I can find out which one that was because that may be a little bit of help too. So, glue chip. I need a drawing of the glue chip. Glue. Yeah, there. Okay, so if this is 54, let's find out what pin it was. I can't remember what pin it was. So 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61. Yeah, you see 61 goes to, again, one of these one of these RAM F258 chips. It goes to pin 1013 and then also goes to the ROM pin 43. So it is a critical one that needed to get fixed. So I fixed that and I still have the same problem. Okay, pin 61 is address line 20. So yeah, so that was a critical trace that needed to get fixed. Okay. Um, Matter of fact, I have my soldering iron on. Let me see if I can remelt this a little bit and fix this up. Okay. All right. So then I was still getting the problem, and then I was like, "Damn it! What else could it be with this board?" So then I took out the actually TechStep, and I connected it, and the TechStep was connecting. I was getting connection to the board after I fixed trace 20. Okay, before I fixed trace 20, I was not getting connection. Okay, because I did try it. I was not getting any connection. So I found that problem and fixed it, and now I was getting connection. But when I ran the tests, I was getting a BS RAM fault or error where it was not. Let me find the book. I have that book. Where did I put it? Ah, here. Okay. So I was getting an error. Base RAM, BS RAM is base RAM. That's 0 through 33K. And when I read the TechStep manual book, it's telling me base RAM test the first 33K of RAM. The Macintosh uses this area of memory for system initialization code and microprocessor stack, traps, and vectors. Apple TechStep requires portion of this of the first 16K of RAM to run tests. Sequence begins by testing the 17K of RAM and follows the first 16K. If this block of RAM tests OK, the test makes a copy of the content of the first 16K of RAM and tests the first 16K. If the first 16K of RAM passes, the test restores the content of the first 16K of RAM and the base RAM test passes. Figure 110 shows a sample test. So, all right. If TechStep detects a failure, the message test failed displays, followed by press 0 for info. If you press 0, the test identifies the bad DRAM SIM or module. Figure 1.1 shows sample failure results for various CPUs. The X indicates the faulty DRAM SIM or module. A question mark indicates a RAM location not tested by BSRAM test. So when I look then at the SE30, I don't know how well this is going to come out, but anyway, it was telling me the X, which is sim1. All right, so I kept on getting that error over and over and over, and sim1 is these two. Okay, this is sim1, sim2, sim3, sim4. Okay, I mean they're in pairs. Okay, so it had to do something with here. So I still wasn't too sure. So then, because in previous issues I've had where the RAM tests, like actually that would tell me that it is the F258s are bad or this F240. I went and I replaced the F258s, same issue. I replaced the F240, same issue. So I then knew it wasn't them. So then I went to bed last night. Um, I was tired. I said, I'm not going to continue working on this. I was even in the process of giving up on this board and saying, well, I guess it is so bad that I need to do a transfer. Um, but I kept on trying. I kept on thinking. Then this morning again, I came back and I tested all of the address lines. I tested everything with the RAM. Okay, I tested every connection between them and so forth, where they're supposed to be, and all that panned out okay. So I knew that the address lines and data lines were all okay. They were going to where they should be. They were going to the ROM, or they were going to various different places. Okay, because a lot of them come from the RAM sockets. They go to these actually resistor packs, which then go to the F258s, which then comes to the ROM, and so forth. So anyway, but we all know that there are some lines, there are some traces that are not data or address lines, like the CAS LL, which is the CAS lower limit, low, and then there's a medium low, there is low high. Is it low high? CAS, um, what is it? Low middle, upper middle, and upper up. I don't know. It's CAS UU and CAS UM, CAS LM, and CAS LL. But I knew that my problem was sitting down here in these. Okay, so out when you eliminate the power going to the RAM, you eliminate the ground, you eliminate all the RAM, all the address lines and data lines. You're left with one, two, three, four signals. Okay, you're left with only four other lines that go other places. Okay, so then I was gonna go and test those. Okay, and the nice thing is with the with the SE30, all of those come right here to this actually resistor pack. And from this resistor pack, they go to the F240, which then from there they go to the actually glue, okay, because that's where they all come from. So you basically have your signals that you have is your CAS, LL, LM, UM, UU. You have your RAS A, RAS B, and you have your PU, which doesn't even go to the glue. That goes to a whole different chip. Okay. So, but you end up having your you end up having your main four lines um, that are the ones that you need to check also. So I started checking them, and I come to find out that let me zoom this in a little bit more. Where's my controller? Ah, here it is. Okay. So basically, what turned out to be the problem then? Where did I put it? Oh, yeah, under the book. Okay. So I have pin 2 here, goes to pin 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, up here. Okay. 2 from here goes to 2 here, here, then 2, 2, 2. That 2 is your CAS LL and your CAS LM, UM, and UU. Okay. So when I checked the traces between here to here in all of these, it was fine. I didn't have a problem. But my problem was that I did not have signal on the second slot of Sim 1, this one, coming back to this actually resistor pack. That was nothing was there. All the others were fine. All the other ones coming back to the resistor pack were fine. Just this one here, okay. But I had it from here to to here. That was fine. So the piece between the sims was fine, but from here, and unfortunately between them, that runs on an internal layer. But from here to this first one is on the surface, but it's under the sim stuff. So I come and check, and from the pin leg to the edge of the sim here was fine. Let me go to the scope where I can show you. Okay, so coming, it was 16, 15, 14. Okay, it was pin 14 here. We can see where I actually scraped a little bit off for me to have a test point. Okay, let me undo some things here. Okay, then we follow that, and it comes here, and I scraped right here, a test point right here, and I was getting okay. But from this point here to pin 2 right here was dead. And if we look, that runs under, and there is a trace right under this piece here that comes and continues into right here. So what were my options? My options were to either undo the sim socket, which is 60 pins, or botch it with a wire. So I decided to do a wire from right here. I come through, I go through this little hole right here. I go to the underside. I may tighten this up a little bit because it's pretty loose, so I do have a lot of play in it. So I botched it and came to pin 2 right there. See, I do have a lot of play in it, so I may tighten this up or just loop it around over here or something, and then glue it down. Okay, so I put that there, and then I went to put in the ROM, the RAM, like what I'm doing right now. Okay, I connected my audio. Okay, um, and I turn on. And I got my chime. My blink RAM is blinking, and the machine worked. Well, at that time when I first did it, I did not get a chime. Okay, so let me reverse that. But my blink RAM started blinking. Okay, and when that happens, that's telling me that it's loading and it's communicating and so forth. So I then connected a Blue SCSI and booted up again, and it booted up and went into the OS 755. But I still was not getting sound. Okay, but to be sure, I then took out my TechStep and I connected it and I ran the test, and the BS RAM test this time now passes. So I know now that that trace repair fixed that problem. Okay, again, TechStep connected to the machine, even though the machine was not booting up, not actually loading ROM, not executing any code and so forth because it couldn't get to the memory, and TechStep would still connect and take over and run the test as needed and come and tell me that the BS that the base RAM is bad. So that again shows that you don't need a board that is 100% workable to run TechStep on it to help you find the problem. Okay, here I am. I mean, you have to you you can't expect TechStep to from a device from that era come and tell you exactly what is wrong, where, and how to fix it. That's not possible. Okay, but TechStep guided me into the area where I needed to go and limited what I should be researching and looking for and trying instead of everything else on this board. Okay, so you really have to learn how to use TechStep to your advantage for you to be able to get it, for you to get what you need out of it. Okay, I mean, um, you have to learn how to read the different errors and where where it is and so forth. So um, should start seeing that blinking. Yeah, you see. So now it is actually loading the OS. I mean, this one is working now. Okay. Now, so far now here, I've only fixed three empty traces. Three traces. Okay. The first one up here at the front for the RAM. The second one also here for actually address line 20. And I fixed up here, which was the CAS. This was the CAS LM signal. Okay. Because coming from pin 14 on that resistor pack is the CAS LM signal. Okay, and it goes to this sim and this one here. It goes to two different ones. Okay, so TechStep guided me, gave me an area of where my problem is, and from there, then I problem solve it and trace it back down, and with a schematic, help to find where the problem is. So that fixed the machine to boot and everything else. Now I was still having an issue with the sound. Okay, now TechStep also checks the sound, and when I have the cable connected into it into the TechStep, and the TechStep would tell me, "Oh yes, audio failed." Okay, and even when I connected a speaker to it, it wasn't chiming. Okay, So now I know, okay, well, my audio issue is with the speakers. Well, with the chips related to there, and we all know well, the ones of us that work on the SEs 30s, that your main culprit for audio is going to be these two guys right here, which are the two SE Sony chips, and then these caps here, this inverter here that takes a 12 volts and makes it negative 12. So it's in this area. So I come then and I start looking here. Okay, again, TechStep is telling me audio failed. So all right, and I didn't think it was the bigger ASC chip. Okay, so I went and looked at these two here, and from the schematics for me to see where they go, and really there's not too much stuff that go to different places. So um, checking each pin to see where it goes and so forth, and if I had continuity. Now this was before I took them out. Okay. There was a lot of corrosion here because these caps leaked and it was very bad and so forth. So um, it would give me it. They look nasty. So I knew something had to be there. So as I started checking and seeing where everything goes, I come across where this first chip here, okay, pin 10, which is this pin right here, pin 10, is supposed to go to this cap. Positive side. I'm supposed to have a signal there, supposed to have continuity there, and I did not have it. Okay, this one was okay. Okay, everything here tested out okay. On this chip, everything else tested out okay, except for that one. Okay, pin 10 to over here. Okay, now having other junk boards, I could easily see. Make sure you have good focus. Okay, here's pin 10. I can easily see that that comes to the capacitor. So I was not getting continuity, and most of this was under the chip. So guess what I had to do? Take off the chip. Okay. So I took off both of the sound chips because they both look nasty, and cleaned them up, and then socketed them. Because once I have them off, I might as well put them in a socket, right? So I socketed them. I put a botch wire. If you look, if I mean, you can't see it because it's under the socket, but what I did was that I put a botch wire between from here into the hole, go into the other side where the wire was sticking out. Then I put in my socket, and then I soldered it all in, and then I cut the wire shorter. Did I cut that shorter? Did I forget to? Ah, you see, I just remembered I never cut that wire. So we should be able to see my wire still sticking out here. Well, I did see you. Ah, there you are. See? Let me give you better focus here. Okay. So you can see the wires coming through. It's still here. I forgot to cut it. So let's go tear that off. Okay, so now that's off. Okay. So again, TechStep helped me to say, well, I knew there was no audio, but TechStep confirmed it that it wasn't doing anything. So then I knew to go and start checking where to go check. Okay, and then after fixing that, I now have continuity from this pin 10 to this capacitor here. Okay, which then turned around and gave me my sound. Okay. Um, I don't have very good speaker connection, so that's why sometimes it doesn't chime, but it's just because my speaker pins here are very worn out. Yeah, I don't. See? There it is. I do get the chime. Okay, I need to make something much better for my speaker stuff with better wire that's permanent. But now the system should actually boot up without any problem. I have my sound. We should start seeing that blinking. There it goes. It's not blinking, and I'm gonna start loading the OS. All right, now to prove my point here too with it, so we will. I'm gonna bring TechStep in the picture here. I'm gonna shut this off. I don't need a speaker now anyway because I'm gonna test the audio, and you're not gonna hear that. That is the one thing with this board is that the SIM sockets are the plastic clips. I don't like them, but none of them are broken, and I do not like switching them out because it can cause a lot of damage. Only if they're broken, I will switch out what is broken. Okay, so we're gonna connect all of that. My 9-volt battery in my TechStep died, so I'm using my bench power. Okay, there it is coming up. Okay, we're gonna go into the SE30 mode. 3. We're gonna do 2, which is test mode. Press it. It wants me to turn on, and I want to terminate. So now this will go and connect. I'll get the SatMax sign on the screen, which I do. So in a few seconds, then this will say connection made, communication established. CPU is now in test mode, and I'm gonna do logic test, and I'm gonna do all. And it's just gonna start doing them. You see, base RAM already passed. It's not giving me that error no more. It tests the address lines, it tests the data lines. See, if it can't do that base RAM, that's the first test it has to run because that's it. TechStep itself needs that little bit of memory. So here we have that TechStep guided me and helped me with two areas really. I mean, the finger and the base RAM and the audio. The audio I probably would have been able to solve without the use of TechStep, but it still helped me. Last time, TechStep also played a very critical role in me figuring out an error. um, what I'm seeing now, the pattern that I'm seeing a lot of times, if it will not connect, check your address lines, check your data lines, because it needs them. Okay, the same way as the machine needs those same lines to connect to the SCSI, because this is all coming in through the SCSI port on this machine. Okay, so now it's doing the SEC test. Okay, doing SCSI test. FPU test, sound test. Sound test pass. ADB is the last test. And ADB is done. All tests passed. So this machine is now in good shape. I am very happy with it. Um, Now some people may say, well, I still want it transferred. I can see their point, and in one way, I agree with some of it, but it depends on what your taste is. Okay, um, why would I agree with doing a reloaded on this board that is perfectly fine now? Um, well, it's a simple thing. We all know we all know how much corrosion can happen on these boards, and we know the damage that leaking capacitors has done. Ugh, air sticking up. Um, we know the damage that leaking capacitors could do. Okay, especially along some of these legs of these chips and so forth, and underneath them. Um, there's never a way that you can clean it 100% and you can stop the actual corrosion. Um, so it will continue. So that's one of the downfalls with keeping the board as an original. Um, some of the corrosion can continue, and you can end up having problems later on down the line. Because remember how old these boards are already. Ultrasonic cleaning and so forth helps, but it won't help 100%. Um, a transfer really does not help 100% either. Okay, let's get that out there, that we know that a transfer also does not help. Okay, I turned it too much. Okay, so because you're gonna have corrosion still on the chip legs and so forth, it will try to do the best it can, but a transfer gives you a new board that has never been subject to the electrolyte and the acid that's in them and eating the board. It also gives you a newer board with a lot of newer products on it, new actually SIM sockets, RAM socket, PDS, CPU socket. All the other sockets are there, and in some cases even gives you some new DINs or DB connectors here. Normally not, because normally I try to salvage as much as I can from the old board, but they do get cleaned a lot better and so forth. So um, it's an actually catch actually 22 with what you want. If you're a die-hard collector and you want actually authenticity and you want the actually period correct stuff, then no, do not do an actually reload. Stick with your original board if it works, knowing that there could be problems later on down the line. Okay. Um, but even with it reloaded, like I said, you could have problems down the line where a chip leg has corroded and gone bad or so forth. But anyway, so we have so now this board here, this is Eric's original board. Now, if he wants this back the way it is working, I'll send that to him. And the one that I reloaded for him, I can then put that aside for someone else. Um, I do have one more reload. I think I have two more reloaded I need to do for customers. So, but either way, so this is a good board. If Eric doesn't want it, I'm gonna hold on to this board as an actually original, uh, and then because he will get an actually reloaded, I will hold on to this board as an original and maybe sell it off, or um, I already have two SE30s for myself. One actually original board and one reloaded with all sockets that I did. So I don't really need to keep one for myself. Um, I could give this board to some. I could trade with someone for this board or so forth. But really, the choice is Eric's, because this is really actually his actually original board. So I'll leave that for him to tell me. But yes, what the purpose of this video was to show you all that um, even a board that may seem out of reach or should not be getting done or close to giving up. But I mean, I tell you, last night I was ready to give up on his board, but then I took a good sleep. I woke up this morning, and I was thinking about it over breakfast and that, and watching some things on YouTube. I was like, there's still some things I can do. So, and I came and did those, and yeah, I'm looking at it, and I am very thrilled, very happy that it's saved and it works. So, let me get this off of here. I am like Bruce, all that goes under the bench. So yes, I'm very happy with this board. I'm thrilled that it's saved. It's a very good original, um, and it can still it can still do quite a bit. I'm just worried about the plastic clips on those sockets. The actually ROM is holding pretty well. I don't know if a Rominator will work very well in it, but I could try it. Um, but the purpose of this video was to show that, I mean, sometimes do not give up on the board. I mean, if you can't fix it, park it, get back to it. And to show the benefit of having actually TechStep. TechStep to me has become a very critical testing tool. No matter if the board is working or not. I mean, I was even using it on a 2CI yesterday that was giving me trouble, and even now with the board booting up and everything, it's still telling me something fails, and I'm like, how can that be failing when I mean, I think it's telling me SCSI fail or something. I'll have to test it again and see. But the board boots up, the board runs, the board does everything that it should. I mean, the board's right here next to me. But TechStep is telling me that there is something wrong on it still. So I will have to problem solve that and actually try to fix that and actually get it actually correct for the owner. But it's a great tool. I love it. I would definitely recommend you all to try to find one that is original. I know they're very pricey. I apologize for that. But the good thing is that there is a aftermarket. There is a remake of it, and y'all saw that on my channel on some of my videos. I had one of the few only remakes in this part of the world. Right now, it is in actually Miami. Getting a case actually designed for it. So that's being done, and we hope to have it available on our store within a few months. And then you can buy an actually new actually TechStep. Has all the ROMs already on it, well in the chips. I'm not sure yet what we're gonna do about the cables because sometimes those cables can be a bit hard to find. Um, because even a S video cable that you think would be actually a straight through 4 wire, S video only needs 3. So there are some cases where 2 pins are joined together to make, so you can't use that as a true actually ADB cable. So the actually TechStep, yes, we will for sure have that available within the next few months. I don't have a timeline on it. It's a lot of it depends on the actually original creator, and we are working with him to be a reseller of the item. So yeah, that's it, folks. Not much else to discuss right now about on this video, but I am so stoked that this board is fixed and it's saved. It passes everything now, but that's the other thing about saving this board. This one trace that was broken. I mean, what else is going to be broken soon internally? I can't prevent the internal traces, corrosion continuing. I mean, this one over here, this one that was over here, was one of those that goes goes actually internal layer, and from there the actually corrosion can actually continue. So yeah, what do you do, right? It could be that this board will, the way it is, before it gets trouble again, it will outlast me. I'm already 54, so who knows how much is left. But anyway, if you like this video, I'm sorry this video is not much about working on something, but it was something I felt which was very critical to show how the problem solving techniques go. I mean, if I did a video on this the whole time, problem solving and testing every little thing, y'all would be very bored. And that is true. I mean, because it was hours and hours of just toning out different pins and checking for actually continuity everywhere. And if I left that all on a video, after 10 minutes, a lot of people would be turning it off. So this one came down now to the summary, and also for me to push the push on the actually credibility and the benefits of having a TechStep and using it. But you have to know how to read between the messages, between the data that it gives you, and how you can determine certain things. So, but anyway, if you all like this video, do a thumbs up for me. Down there somewhere, you can actually click on that thumbs up. Where to find me? kmacvintage.com. Um, there, it takes you to the coffee site. You can do a site donation, a one-time donation, monthly donation, whatever. Visit the shop. You can see what all we do. Visit actually services, and you can see the services that we provide, which is actually reloaded boards for the SC30 and the Classic right now. Hopefully soon I'll have some more. Repair on a normal board, like you see this board here. Yeah, I did just a normal repair. I mean, I can do replace caps and test it and clean it. I've got these two actually CIs, so that's all I'm doing. It's just an actually repair service. And we all know how finicky the actually CI can be, especially that actually soft power circuitry. On one of them, I had to take all that off and clean it and this and then put it back, and now it works fine. So anyway, KMac Vintage on actually X, formerly Twitter, or Twix, what I call it, and on Blue Sky, KMac Vintage. So leave me your comments, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you. Bye bye.